up again. One thing that was kind of bugging me was the way they had the bilge pump set up. They had this little metal bar coming down. You know, the float sits on the end. Pickup for the bilge pump was behind that. Then it went up and they had a screener filter, this thing, which catches all the big chunks. Problem is that, you know, you got your float and everything down in the bottom of the bilge. It comes about halfway up out of the bilge. Then you've got your screen there that catches all the big chunks. And then it would go the rest of the way up out of the bilge and over to the pump. So this piece here would sit way down about here. And the only access to it is really to pick up the floor. I mean, you got the access to get in over here, which would just be way up here at the top, and somehow you got to pull this all the way up through the hole to get to it, just to clean the screen out, and then have to, you know, you got to pull your pickup and everything, the whole float, everything up out of the hole just to get to it. So my plan, I finally went to the store, bought this, which should be plenty long enough. And I'm going to do the same thing, put the float on the end and the pickup behind it, but I plan on running the line all the way up. If I have to use this 90, I will, and move this way up here so that when it comes up, it'll go through and then a short piece of hose into the actual bilge pump, so that when I take this panel off, I can just reach down here and clean it out. And look at that. I actually went out and got a filter for the shop vac. So hopefully I won't be blowing crap all over the boat when I'm sweeping crap up. And there we go. Got the line ran down, and the float in the pickup for the bilge is way down there. Come up to the other side over here. And, well, I figured that while I was at it down here fighting in this hole, might as well go ahead and set a second bilge pump right there at the front of the centerboard trunk. It sits up a little bit higher than the pickup on the other one, and this one's set up with the 3 wires so that it's made for hooking up a light and alarm to it and stuff like that. So if I get enough water that the first one can't handle it and the second one kicks on, I plan on having some kind of a buzzer or something to go off and let me know that I'm getting a lot of water in there. Well, I did it again. I'm out blowing my hard-earned money on boat stuff, but in my opinion, I think it's worth it. This is the water heater that came on the boat. It's a 6-gallon water heater. It took it home, cleaned it out. It works. I was kind of concerned about the fittings where it hooks to the engine. If the camera will focus right, you can see there's a little bit of it corroded off on there, but still enough to get a hose on. And, you know, same thing on this side, just a little bit of it corroded off, but it would work. And then I was out looking around, and there's a boat here that they're scrapping that had this water heater on it. I mean, yeah, it looks kind of rough on the outside, but that ain't nothing. That's just sheet metal. So I was talking to the owner of the boatyard, and I got it for $50. This one up here is 6 gallons. This one down here is 11 gallons. And took it home, cleaned it out, flushed everything out, hooked power to it. It works like it should. And it looks like on the back side here, it's got the fittings for hooking to the engine. It looks like it's never had hoses put on there. And then while I was looking around in that boat, I also found this. If you remember, when I took this thing off, which I did get it to start to turn. I mean, it's not easy and it catches on stuff, but I needed a replacement. That was laying down in one of the bunks in that boat. So $50 for an alternator. It says it's a Reman cat alternator, never been used. And I almost doubled my capacity of hot water. So I think it's worth it. Oh, here's another thing. If you go back and look at the first video, you'll remember that this was sitting down in the bilge in front of the engine. And that's why it has this water line, because that's how far underwater it was. This one doesn't have a water line. That one does. Well, today I think I'm going to mess with this down here, because it just looks nasty. And, you know, if I'm going to put the water heater in here, probably should clean it and everything first, huh? Oh, there we go. It's starting to look a little bit cleaner. Either that or the paint fumes are getting to me and I'm getting high, and it just looks good to me. Well, I think I'm going to make a video of paint drying, just to see if that helps out any. Because since I started making videos again and posting them on YouTube, I've noticed that number of subscribers that I have is going down. Which doesn't make any sense to me, because my most recent videos are just as crappy as all the other ones when I was getting subscribers. But while I was making this, I didn't think you needed to see a video of how to paint, so I didn't record that. Same with, you know, when I was sanding and cleaning it before I painted it. You know, I figure if you're smart enough to know how to get on YouTube and play videos, you could probably figure out how to work a paintbrush. So let's just sit here and enjoy paint drying. Okay, that's enough of that. Well, while that paint is drying back there, it's kind of limited on what I can do. I don't want to call it quits for a day, but try to not make a bunch of dust and stuff. And I was up here in the V-berth, and you see there's only one strip of wood along here, and there's a bunch over there. These other strips are somewhere around here on the boat. They get moved from one place to the other as I'm working on stuff. But this is a project that still needs to be done. This board that's behind here, yeah, there we go, there's a spot. It's got a couple kind of soft spots in it there. So I guess they took everything down, and I've seen a lot of places throughout the boat where they've done that, and replaced it with this stuff. Here's a piece of this scrap left over. I don't know if you can, well, there, you can kind of see how it's got a textured surface on it. It's smooth on one side. It's a fiber reinforced plastic, so it's waterproof, and pretty sure it's never going to rot out. But this side has been replaced and just needs the boards put up. That side still needs replaced, so I don't know. Maybe I'll start taking that down. Unless it starts making a bunch of dirt, then I'll... Okay, I'm starting to wonder if the fumes are getting to me. I got a drawer here that I got a bunch of tools in, and, you know, every time I come up here to get a tool, I happen to look in there, and every time I look in there, it looks more and more like gray and not white. Even though it says that it's white bilge paint, that doesn't look white to me. I mean, it looked white when I was painting, but not anymore. Okay, just to double check. Yeah, maybe they spelled gray wrong. So I'm up here taking these screws out, and I'm starting to wonder about it. As you can see, there's a screw here and a screw here. Nothing up here. When you get to the top, I don't know if you can see that, but it's moving. So you got this one board, there's a screw here, screw here, screw here. No more screws anywhere else, you know. Just on this board and this board. So maybe these screws, these ones that are spaced out through here, hold this whole board up in here. And that could explain why on this side, when they put it in, there's only one area to put screws in. That's where this board is, and they didn't put the rest of the boards on. I don't know. We're about to find out. Okay. That kind of explains it. Technically, let's see if I can do this right. It says it is plywood. 16th inch plywood, maybe? 2, 3 layers? Huh. Well, I don't know. It looks like we took this board off. And it's just like, maybe that is wood. Yeah, maybe I should look at the camera and see where I have it pointed, huh? This is like the center layer. Out of the 3, the center layer is actually thick enough, I'd call it wood. This is just like wood grain paper. Yeah, see? But right there, that kind of explains. It's got the boards there and a wire that goes to nothing again. I'm gonna have to see if there's any power going to that, and maybe put some kind of phone charger or something right in the middle of the wall there. But now I wonder, is there anything like that on this side? Okay, and here's another thing that explains. I've been looking at this side and wondering why this comes down and stops at this edge and doesn't go down, where on this side, this heavy duty cardboard actually came down to here. So when they replaced it and put the new stuff on the other side, they just brought it down to this edge and stopped, and I have no idea what they planned on doing here, but if it's all on the same plane, it would make sense to just bring it right down to here. I mean, what am I supposed to do to cover that gap there where it stops up here? I mean, I guess, no. I was going to say the mattress would cover that, but no, the mattress goes down here. Yeah, looks like maybe I am pulling this side off too. Here's another thing I just thought about. You know, when I was getting ready to take it down and on the top edge I was pushing and it was moving. And I was thinking, okay, it's got to be a lot of water damage, and that's why, now that I got it down, I mean, way up there at the very front, yeah, that looks like a little bit of water damage there. Down everything in through here, I mean, doesn't look like any water until you get way back here, this edge back here a little bit. Because I was thinking maybe up under there, like along the edge, it might be leaking or something. And that's why I figured this whole thing was moving, but I guess it's just because, you know, this boat was built in 76 and this is 2023. So if I did my math right, that means this thing's a couple of years old, and that could be why it is coming apart. Well, I'm back to check again, and yep, still looking gray. And I thought, well, maybe it's the light. So there, that makes it look a really bright gray. Is that better?